Welcome to this episode of Mentors at Your Benchside, the podcast giving you advice, tips, and tools for getting the most out of your research. I'm Eva Amson, and today I'll be talking to you about how to check the accuracy of your pipette and why it's important to do so. I'd bet that your trusty pipette is probably one of the most often used tools in the lab. But do you have any idea how to check the accuracy of your pipette? It's one of those things that can get brushed aside in the heat of experimentation. Pipetting accuracy is critical to successful experiments, especially for sensitive experiments. For example, qPCR relies on accurate pipetting. Calculations depend on having the same amount of template DNA, cDNA, or otherwise in each reaction. A pipetting inaccuracy of as little as 5% can result in a 2 nanogram variation in template DNA. This 5% error is geometrically amplified throughout the reaction and leads to hard to interpret results. So let's talk about how to check the accuracy of your pipette. Aside from sending your pipette off for calibration every year, your pipette should be checked for accuracy on a regular basis. How often you do it depends on the frequency you use them. The faithful pipette you use every day, check that every 3 months. The beloved but not used so often pipette, an annual checkup should suffice. The most common way to check your pipette accuracy is by weighing water. The density of water is 1 gram per ml. This means that every microliter should weigh exactly 0.001 gram using a high precision balance. In other words, if your pipette is accurate, the amount of water you dispense will equal the amount the water weighs. So if your pipette is set to 100 microliters, then the scale should read 0.1 gram. Before we dive into the process of measuring the accuracy of your pipettes, there are some things you need to know that can impact accuracy and therefore also impact how you measure accuracy. Temperature and air pressure can affect the density of liquids, which you should consider when checking your pipettes. Pure water has a density of 1 gram per ml at 20 degrees Celsius and 1 atmosphere of pressure, so ideally measure the accuracy of your pipettes under these conditions. Notice I said pure water. If you use tap water, which contains dissolved ions, the density may vary. Is this enough to impact your results? There's no need to risk it, just use distilled water. The effect of pressure is negligible, and therefore variations in this are unlikely to alter your results dramatically. However, the ambient temperature can have more of an effect, with higher temperatures resulting in lower density because of thermal expansion. Luckily, there are ways to adjust for this, so ensure you measure the ambient temperature when measuring the accuracy of your pipette. Note that you also need to make sure you're using a balance that has been properly calibrated as well. Before you check the accuracy of your pipette, you need to ensure you're using the proper pipetting technique. If not, you'll be measuring the inaccuracy of your pipetting skills rather than the pipette. Proper technique involves drawing up or aspirating and then dispensing or ejecting the liquid in a smooth motion. Putting the pipette tip in the water and quickly releasing the plunger will give you inaccurate results, even if your pipette is properly calibrated. In fact, using the proper pipetting technique will not only increase the robustness and reproducibility of your results, but it will also decrease the wear and tear on your pipette, so it's a win-win. Now that you've heard the background, here's how to check the accuracy of your pipette in 7 easy steps. And this works whether you're using a positive displacement pipette or an air displacement pipette. Step 1. Get some distilled water ready that has been at room temperature a while along with your pipette. Step 2. Place a weigh boat on the microbalance or analytical balance. Make sure to close the doors and then zero the balance. Step 3. Set your pipette to the desired volume within the pipette's range. Step 4. It's a good idea to prime the pipette tip a few times by pipetting up and down with water before you take your first measurement. Step 5. When everything is ready, aspirate the water into the tip again and eject it slowly into the weigh boat. Then shut the door and record the weight. Step 6. Zero the balance and then repeat steps 3 to 5 around 10 times. So that is from setting your pipette to the desired volume, priming the pipette tip, and then aspirating water, putting it in the weigh boat and weighing it. So repeat this around 10 times and average your findings. Step 7, do this for each volume you want to check. Accuracy is often lost at the end of the pipette's range, so it's a good idea to test both the minimum and maximum your pipette is designed to do, along with 50% of the maximum volume. So, what is considered accurate for a pipette? This may differ between labs and applications, so check to see if your lab has set tolerances. However, a good general guide is for the measured amount to be within about 1%. For example, 0.099 gram for 100 microliter would still be okay, but 0.097 would be inaccurate. And if your pipette is inaccurate, it's time to get it calibrated. Now, the best way to keep your pipettes accurate is to treat them as the valuable tools they are. So be sure to check your pipette on a daily basis for dirt or contaminants. Store your pipette correctly, so don't just throw it on the bench. Reset your pipette to the maximum when not in use, so there's less pressure on the spring. And try to adjust your pipette as little as possible to avoid wear and tear. So, in short, if your pipette is not accurate, it can have large and damaging effects on your experiments. To minimize inaccuracy, check the accuracy of your pipette every 3 months. If the pipette is inaccurate, get it calibrated. We hope this episode has helped you understand how to easily check the accuracy of your pipette and whatever you use your pipette for. Take care of it, and it will take care of your experiments in the long run. So that's it for pipette accuracy. Check out the episode description for links to related articles and resources. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to get more help and advice from mentors at your benchside.